Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an SF Live Breaking News Special. My name's Kai Hoff, and I'm the CEO of the Soar Financial Group. And I'm joined here, as you can see already, by Philippe Cloutier. He's president and CEO of Cartier Resources. And we got some catching up to do. Friday, the company put out some results on the Benoit project that we have to work through. Lots to discuss. And of course, there's some upside as well. This morning, company announced that they're doing some channel sampling at Fenton, drill targeting, and much more happening there. So they're moving on with the projects, and we're going to talk to Philippe about that and what he has planned for Fenton, of course, but also discuss Benoit in detail. What can we learn from this? And something that I actually want to see more from junior gold explorers do more often is cut bait on certain projects and just move on if the results don't pan out. We're going to get to that in 1 second, but I do have one thing queued up here, and that's the reminder for our subscribers, or not yet subscribers, is to sign up, follow us, leave a link, leave a comment as well, and subscribe to our channels. It's much appreciated, and that way we can bring you more news and related content as well. Philippe, you are unmuted. Wonderful. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. And,
good morning.
I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good weekend.
Yes.
Perfect. Philippe, we got to talk. Friday, you put out a drill. It was Thanksgiving Friday. It was a very slow day, but you put out Benoit results and sort of gave us an update on what happened at Benoit. You drilled 17,000 meters. Run us through the program. What were the ideas behind it, and what were the results?
Okay, well, initially the program was scheduled to be 30,000 meters, turned out to be 17,000. The objectives of the program were to test the depth extension of the deposit to see if if this mineralization continued at depth, and then also to test east and west laterally on lookalike geophysical anomalies. The drilling throughout the year was extremely complex and burdened and slow. And by mid or late September, we were starting to see low grades towards the eastern part of the chute. But then we're holding out. Remember your site visit, we remember seeing a bit of chalcopyrite in the stringer system at depth. And we're hoping to get some good results out of that. The same thing. It was a widespread, low grade, gold grades at depth. So on the one hand, we're happy we tested that extension. On the other hand, we're quite disappointed that we weren't able to repeat the high grades that we were seeing at surface. We had put out a maiden resource estimate on the deposit itself, and that deposit, the 250,000 ounces that are there, do contain intersects of 10 grams or 10 meters and stuff like that. So we're really hoping to get that. We did not. There's still some outstanding results to the west that we haven't received yet, but I'm not holding out for them. I think we've done what we needed to do on that program. It's not developing at depth under the deposit. There are still, I think, a total of 108 ore vision anomalies surrounding that deposit, and that strike in the central zone is still open for 3 kilometers. And for now, we're just going to move over to Fenton and attack that project with gusto. And but suffice to say, that system is it's pretty robust. It goes down to 1.3 kilometers as tested by us, but the gold grades aren't there. So we're going to cut bait on that one.
Yeah, and learning from your mistakes, I think, is a big one as well. Like, is there something you take away from Benoit that you can apply now at Fenton or so? That you're just like, okay, this didn't work out, or is there something like you got to learn from your mistakes, right? Is there something you'd say that was a key takeaway that we'll have to do different next time?
Well, yes, and yes and no. Yes, we're going to test on Fenton. We're going to test a lot of the shallower targets because they're present. They weren't present on Benoit. On Benoit, we only had the deposit to go from, and we wanted to make sure that it continued. And if it did, then hopefully try to apply that to the east and to the west. So learning from that mistake is, well, at least on Fenton, we're not going to be stubborn and go down deep under the Fenton deposit that exists. We at least have the option to scout and do a lot of shallow drilling to the east and west, and to the north and to the south. There's about 40 different diamond drill holes on a mess of targets that we're going to be doing on Fenton. So it's a totally different dynamic. We've learned from that mistake. And the second mistake we've learned is, obviously, we were very poor on news flow on Benoit. and I'm trying to get a wrap around my head. How do you announce that? Okay, we've only done 20 meters of drilling in the last week. Oh, then we've lost a wedge, and so that's the type of stuff that, from a technical perspective, we have to revisit the way we communicate with our shareholders. That's for sure.
That's a very good point, because I saw the frustration building because there weren't any
Yeah.
results to be released. Assay labs, of course, were on top of it, slow as well. But yeah, no, good point. Like, communicating some of the progress, I think, is
Much
a
differently.
really good point. Yeah. No.
Well,
Fantastic.
we did have news on the option that we did with Wilson. We did have news on the acquisition of Fenton. Now we're rebuilding a news flow sheet for the Fenton. We had news on Shimo, but in retrospect on Benoit, we didn't have a steady flow of results, and therefore no steady flow of news. We're creating a totally different program for Fenton and on Shimo in 2022.
Fantastic. No, that's great. Let's wrap up on Benoit. You're shelving the project. You're waiting on a couple more results. There's nothing more pending. I think you're about to cut bait on the project. Are you dropping it, or just shelving it for now?
No, well, there has to be an effort to rebrand because we only tested the deposit area, and the project size is, 10 kilometers by 10 kilometers. So there's a lot of upside. And if we could find another deposit somewhere else, but we're going to let somebody else do that heavy lifting. At least that's my thinking right now. And there's a lot of excitement flowing from Fenton and Shimo. So I'm not worried about, keep advancing the company through those two projects.
No, fair enough. You're a junior explorer. You have to focus, and focus is now Fenton. Let's talk about Fenton. You put out a release this morning, and talking about what you've done in November so far, what your next steps are as well. Run us through that.
Okay, well, step back. We were in April. We acquired 100% of the project. So obviously, then and the government, or SOCREM, was operator. Now we are operators, and throughout the summer, through the slow drilling of Benoit, we were able to recompile and discover that there are really high-grade occurrences at surface over a strike length of over 350 meters of the deposit itself. Then there's another trend to the north that hosts a 356 gram per ton drill indicated showing that has not really been drill tested at depth. And so we revisited all those showings. We went out back in the field. We decided to twin all the existing high-grade channel samples. That was sent to the lab 2 weeks ago while we were in Frankfurt, actually. We completed all the line cutting to support the geophysics. We scouted out a geophysical method that was able to detect the surface deposit signature down to depths between 100 and 500 meters. And we're going to use that to design a very aggressive drill program for the beginning of 2022. So while the drill program advances on Fenton, we're going to be doing or completing the PEA on Shimo. It's going to be a very exciting year.
Yeah, sounds like it. Can you give us more of a preview of what 2022 looks like for Fenton? Like you said, drilling is like, it put some context around it, like drill targets, like RC drilling, diamond drilling. You said shallow drilling. Is RC an option?
Okay.
When can you start drilling potentially?
Absolutely. Okay, so this is standard diamond drilling. It's going to look at there's a figure that accompanies a press release this morning. There's over 17 already identified targets. The geophysics is being run is simply to help us really come up with some precise geophysical back targets at depth. But we already have, half of the program is already pre-designed to drill test those 40 grammars that were identified on surface. So the drilling will start most likely, knock on wood, maybe February, and run. It'll be a continuously run program for 6 months. And then while that's being done, obviously, so there's going to be maybe 40, 50 holes, relatively shallow. So quite unlike what you've seen at Benoit, very long, complex, slow drilling, and Shimo was like that as well. So we're shifting gears, and we're basically getting back to what most juniors do, and very short dynamic holes.
Are you switching drillers? Are you using a different drill company? Have you secured a contractor yet?
Well, we're securing a contract because this time around we're going to be it's going to be a drill mounted on rubber.
A track mounted,
Caterpillar. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be totally different. We're shopping around for drillers, and We also have an agreement with the Waswanipi First Nations, and Muka Corporation actually has a diamond drill outfit, which is a sub or a sister company of Orbit Garant Diamond Drilling. So we're also going to consider groups like that because where they could offer services that are competitive with other contractors, be it drilling, be it road clearing. Well, we're going to prefer that route as well because they're practically on site.
Alrighty, I think that wraps up Fenton pretty much. Like we're
Yeah.
just waiting for drill targets to be announced, drilling to start. Hopefully,
Yep.
knock on wood, as you said, in February, which is quite aggressive. So really looking forward to that.
And stemming from the compilation that we've done, I've asked the guys to help me. We're going to reboot the website section on Fenton, so there's going to be a lot of eye candy there for people as well.
I like eye candy. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, it's publicly available data if people want to dig into the old historical results. But in the context of what the new photographs we've taken on in the field, and yeah, eye candy.
Yeah. Well, the eye candy I remember is you standing on that outcrop. So
yeah.
2 pieces of eye candy in one photo. Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
While I have you, Philippe, Shimo PA update progressing as planned?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, the advantage that we have is we did a lot of the internal work with the engineering, and we just want to make sure. We also hired a consulting firm to oversee the PEA progress and challenge Innovexplo and PRB Mining Services into overviewing the best scenarios. And it would appear that obviously, and it's counterintuitive maybe, but the highest paying scenarios to date is actually toll milling. And we foresee that in 3 to 5 years, well, the government or the Ministry of Environment is going to favor any situation where you actually do not build a new tailings impoundment site and mill. But we always want to measure what the economics of building your own mill could be like. And we're always on the lookout of acquiring, extensions and other mining projects as well.
Fantastic. Well, PA release on schedule. What was the date for the release? You mentioned, I think, around PDAC. Is that correct?
The groups overseeing the program suggested that I respond to that by saying Q1 2022.
Okay, perfect. All right, that sounds fair enough. We're looking forward to it. Philippe, 2022 is shaping up to be an exciting year. We learned our lessons on other projects.
And our pledge to our investors is to come up with a more dynamic, steady, and frequent news flow situation.
Fantastic. I think your investors would appreciate it based on comments I've read all over Twitter and co.ca and other platforms as well. So
well taken. I mean, we're not going to let our ego stand in our way.
Fantastic. Philippe, great catching up with you. Thanks for joining us for this breaking news special. Can't wait to speak to you in the new year, the latest, once drill targets are announced and once you've signed up drill contract and all the good stuff for Fenton.
Thank you. Be well, be safe.
Fantastic.
All the best.
Everybody else, thanks for joining us. This was an SF Live breaking news special. We caught up with Philippe Cloutier here, as you can see, President and CEO of Cartier Resources. We spoke about the Fenton deposit and what the plans are for the project moving forward in 2022. We talked about cutting bait on Benoit and what the issues with the project were, and the results didn't turn out. I don't have a problem with that as long as companies communicate that properly, and that works for me. It's exploration, right? Not every gold deposit is going to become a mine. We are all aware of that, but there's lots left on the table at Cartier Resources, and I'm excited to be a shareholder. And if you have any further questions, Philippe is always available. I know that as well. Or just shoot us a message, direct message us on Twitter as well. We'd be happy to answer those. Leave a comment, leave a like. As you can hear, I'm a bit under the weather, but leave a comment and leave a like here on Twitter or on YouTube as well. Follow us and